What about now? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you can hear me now. Can you sound check that? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. There we go. Alright. Now you guys can hear me. Anyways, now after all of that, I just totally told the whole story to everybody and nobody can freaking hear me. It's crazy. Anyway, so back to the start of the video here. Again, basically what happened here is I was approached by a hacker that claimed to be from Anonymous, claimed that he had new information regarding the next Call of Duty, and I did not believe him. I thought I was getting, you know, getting my leg pulled, getting my chain pulled, whatever you want to say, but I totally did not believe it, and I have no viewers at this point in time. Yeah. I think I might have lost everybody there. Alright, just waiting for a couple people to join us here. I have been waiting to release this information for quite some time and just want a couple people that are able to get the word out here that are Call of Duty viewers, and was hoping to be able to share this information with the world. Let me go ahead and see if we've got anybody on Twitter here that would like to join the fun. Let's see. Yep, not much tonight. Seems like I've picked a slow night to do this, but anyways, alright, got a couple people here. As long as you can hear me, you know, that's good enough. Let me know if you can hear me or not. I was having some technical difficulties a little bit earlier. So basically, now that I got a couple people here, I will let you know that basically what has happened is I was approached by somebody claiming to be a hacker and claiming to be from the notorious hacking group Anonymous, and he approached me through my YouTube channel and asked if I wanted information regarding the newest Call of Duty game that is to be released for the Xbox 720. Of course, most of the stuff that you get is spam, and you don't believe that anybody's actually going to be giving you legitimate, you know, factual information. And so, you know, I thought it was bogus, so I kind of answered, yeah, okay, sure, buddy. And he said, you know, what if I could prove it to you? And of course, I responded to him, and we kept going back and forth, and we've actually been in talks now for the past several months, since right around when Black Ops 2 was being released. And, you know, I've Skyped with this guy. I've talked to him on the phone a couple of times, of course, using a Google Voice account, because I don't want to have any type of connection with this person, if at all possible. But basically, he said that he has been, he kind of treats hacking as a game. He doesn't play video games, but his video game is actually hacking. And so his story goes that he'd been working on infiltrating Treyarch Studios and, you know, looking to blow the lid off of the next Call of Duty game. Because if you notice, every time you look on YouTube, right before the new Call of Duty is released, all kinds of people start speculating about what's happening. Oh, I've got the newest information. And then, you know, you have 500 channels that are all reporting on the same information. That's why, you know, on the run-up to Call of Duty, the next Call of Duty game, I don't really cover it all that much, because everybody else is already doing it, and it's the same information posted on IGN. Well, this is a little bit different. And the reason it's a little bit different is because I have actual evidence sent to me by this gentleman. He calls himself, he says that he's actually from Anonymous. Let me go through some of my notes here. Here's a couple things that I've got. I don't have the speculated name that he believes that it's going to be called. Is going to be something to the tune of, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but sometimes Treyarch does some crazy stuff. They're planning on calling it Space Warfare Ops. Now, it sounds ridiculous, and it's so freaking ridiculous that I can't even make it up. That's the whole thing. It's like, if I was going to make something up, and I wanted to put out some bogus information, I would come up with something that sounds better than Space Warfare Ops, if you really think about it. So I think it's absolutely a ridiculous name. But I mean, really, if you look at some of the things that Treyarch and Infinity Ward have been doing, everything is bogus. I mean, every time they release a new Call of Duty, there's something ridiculous about it. You know, they always screw up. They don't listen to the fans. It just gets a little bit crazy. So here's a couple of confirmed items that I have personally seen. Basically, that I have personally seen. Now, I have seen four different skins that are going to be released in the next Call of Duty. Now, I have also seen 3 different player models, and then also some concept art. And I have also seen 2 of the maps, 2 of the concept maps. They're not final cuts by any means, because obviously this is going to be released on the Xbox 720. So, you know, none of this is 100% set in stone. This is in the way beginning alpha stages. Hasn't even gotten to beta yet. But I do have some quite interesting things here. So, one of the things is that the new Call of Duty is going to be based in the future. Okay? One of the ways that I do believe this guy is he sends me strings and strings of emails from all the different developers that are in Treyarch and also in Infinity Ward. Now you might ask me why I say Treyarch and Infinity Ward. Well, that's a great question. Let me go ahead and check Twitter real quick, see if anybody has any questions for us here. Just want to see if any viewers here have anything for us. Post a quick tweet. If you have any questions, this would be a good time to type them in so that I can go ahead and answer for you. Let's go ahead and get the word out here. Any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them for you. Alright, perfect. It's going to be like Saints Row 4. Wow. No, you know what? I don't think it's going to be like Saints Row. You know, I think they might be taking different aspects of different games out there. However, one of the things that's going to be interesting. You know, I'm changing my mask. Give me a quick intermission here. This thing's bugging me. Can't see. Alright, sorry about that intermission there. Alright, there we go. Yes, this is all true. I've confirmed it. I've seen it on myself. So I wanted to release it through a live stream as opposed to, you know, posting it on Twitter, whatever the case might be. Wanted to make sure I was getting this information out because I actually have an agenda. It doesn't. It's not just to get the information out. The reason I want to get this out right now is because I'm hoping everybody can spread the word, because this game's going to be a pile of steaming garbage. If anybody here plays Call of Duty on any regular type of basis, you'll have you'll definitely have a complete distaste for what they're coming up with. So let me go through some of my notes here. So one of the things that I've been given that is evidence that this is reality is I have strings and strings of emails. I've got some with Alex Conserva. He's the lead programmer over at Treyarch. I got some different emails, including Dave Anthony. He's the VP and game developer of Treyarch. And then also from Infinity Ward, included in the same email strings is Julian Luo. He's the lead designer over at Infinity Ward. And then Keith Bell, another designer over at Infinity Ward. I was actually leaked about I'd say somewhere in the tune of about 100 and so emails from the actual developers of both the companies communicating together, okay? Now, one of the topics and the reason that I was included on this string, why he wanted to show this to me, because here is the kicker. They are actually merging Treyarch and Infinity Ward. So I don't know which side of the camp you're on, whether you like Treyarch better, you like Infinity Ward better when they make Call of Duty. However, they are going to be merging to create the next Call of Duty for the 720. I guess the story goes that the amount of effort and work that was going to go into the 720 version of the Call of Duty was going to be so much work that they weren't going to be able to do it with just the amount of developers each specific team had. So what they're going to be doing is, for the next instances of Call of Duty, they're going to be merging Infinity Ward and Treyarch. Will be one company. There will be one programming design studio. And what's going to happen is they'll be announcing it sometime later this year, I'm sure. But I've actually got a couple of different email strings where it's almost like they're bickering about what's going on. So what I've got here is, after talking with my new hacker friend who calls himself Anon27Zaid, that's the handle he goes by, is that not only are Treyarch and Infinity Ward going to be merging, but they will be creating the next Call of Duty together, and it's going to be exclusive for the Xbox 720. That's right, no PlayStation 4 version. So I guess the story goes, based on the information that's been given me, is that the console wars are going to be at their all-time high. You got to figure the consoles have all the media, they have Netflix, they have all kinds of apps, and when they're going to be, you know, quadrupling the power of these consoles this coming year, you got to imagine the war for the actual IP is going to increase. So really, what's going on is Microsoft is in a multi-million deal to buy the exclusive rights to Call of Duty. And what's that going to do? Do you think to the PlayStation 4 or the Wii U? What do you think that's going to do? Well, I'll tell you what that's going to do. That's going to shut them down. You're going to have the kids playing the Wii U. You got the Mario Brothers and the Pokemon and all of that stuff, which that's cool. There is a need for that in the marketplace. But then all the PlayStation 4, what are they going to be stuck doing? You know, there won't be any mainline headlining first-person shooters over on the PlayStation 4. So I find it kind of interesting. And then I also, after talking with this hacker, he's been breaking down the code a little bit, and he realized that they weren't just coding this game for single controller input or dual controller input for split screen. He said that they are also coding it for two different peripheral units. One, which is a set of VR goggles. Okay, if you've heard, the Xbox 720 has been saying that they're going to be working on a new immersive platform to bring you into the game. And not only that, they're going to bring an actual glove controller. If you remember the Nintendo, they used to have a power glove. Basically, you put it on your hand, it had buttons on the top, you could program it, you could actually use it to control the game. So basically, what I'm hearing is that instead of having the Kinect, because the Kinect was imperfect, it didn't work very well, instead of the, well, you know, you can say that, but wait until you see all the information that I'm going to be bringing to you right now. That's the biggest headline of this, because the reason I'm even bringing this to you, Stagger Step 312, is because I want the community to stop this, because it's not fair. I have an Xbox 360. I'll probably buy an Xbox 720. But what about my buddy? He has a PlayStation 3. Does he now have to go to the Microsoft side of the table for Call of Duty? It's pretty likely. Unfortunately, that's what they're doing. And I'll tell you the reason why that's believable and why they're doing that. Just think, if somebody offered you $20 million to sell out two of your competitors, I mean, would you do it? Of course you would. So kind of back to some of the information that's been going back and forth. I have tons of email threads going back and forth, all these guys, which I will be releasing in the future. I'm actually putting together a website with all the information that I have here But I wanted to get the video out first so that people could be aware of it, because there's a good chance that they will slap me with some kind of copyright infringement or, you know, other frivolous lawsuit, because I happen to be lucky enough to receive this information on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, I've been dying to get an actual exclusive story on something, and this is the most exclusive story I've ever had. I mean, nobody else has this stuff. Now, I was asking this guy, you know, why did he choose my channel? Why did he come to our channel? Well, his reasoning for that is that I actually have a video called How to Get Your Hacked Xbox Live Account Back. He said that he's searching for other hackers on Xbox, saw the video, and thought that this would be the good place to do it. And it was kind of interesting too, because he was like, hey, you know, this might help platform your channel to the next level. So he's kind of a nice guy, but he's doing something completely criminal and illegal. So like I said, I've got emails going back and forth between Treyarch and Infinity Ward, some of their top programmers, top designers, and even the upper brass and the executive level. So just kind of go through a few of the things. Here's some of the things that some of the information that I've been privy to. Like I was saying before, I did get access to 4 different models for weapons, okay? And these are all preliminary names. The models aren't 100% complete. However, this is the concept that they're going to be running off of. One of them, there is a laser gun, because it is set in the future, and they're actually going to be calling that the Decimator. That's the code name for it. I don't know if it's going to roll out to the game or not, but the code name that they're using is the Decimator. And then there's also a ray gun, and from what I hear, it's kind of like a laser gun, but it has a thicker beam. So you have a ray gun, and they're calling that the NTG-46. And then there's also, like I mentioned in my other video, there is also a teleportation gun. Instead of the tactical inserts, what they have done is they have actually replaced the tactical insert with a personal teleportation gun, and they're calling it the Rabbit Z. I guess like hopping around like a rabbit or whatever. And then one of the explosives is equivalent to a rocket launcher, from what I can tell. They have a plasma explosive, and they're calling that the P-28. The Anonymous is a hacking group. Basically what they do is they do a bunch of illegal hacking. They basically run around and hack. They get information. They're basically the highest level of all hackers that are out there. So basically they run around and hack different governments and different companies and things like that. And they have a worldwide network of these guys that run around hacking everybody. And they call themselves Anonymous. So those are the guns. Those are the gun skins that I've seen, the weapon skins that I've seen. Got, like I said, the laser gun, which is the Decimator, the ray gun, which is the NTG-46. You have the teleportation gun, which is the Rabbit Z, and then you have the plasma explosive, which is the P-28. So those are the actual 4 weapon skins that I have that I've confirmed. I've seen the concept art, and I've also seen the actual skins for the models. So it's kind of interesting, because what I'm getting is I'm getting bits and pieces of the script as he's going through. The script is not finalized, of course, but I am getting bits and pieces of the script. Basically, the premise of the entire game is that Earth has been totally wiped out by advanced nuclear warfare. Okay, and so what happened was the remaining humanity that was here, they emigrated to Mars, and they also live on actual spaceships. So like large spaceships floating through space, basically is what it is. Basically huge space stations. That's what I'm looking for. I'm sorry. 2 of the maps that I've confirmed and I've seen images of. One of them is Mars, which they're actually calling New Earth, basically after the nuclear holocaust that happened on Earth. Everybody decided that they were going to go ahead and take off to Mars and colonize Mars, which I guess they kind of tell the backstory of how humankind emigrates to Mars. And so there's a lot of battling on actual Mars, which is called New Earth. And then what happens is throughout the progression of the game, supposedly what they're trying to do is recolonize Earth, because there's some areas that have become habitable that they're able to kind of reclaim. So there's a battle going on for not only Mars but New Earth between different human factions. And then I've also got confirmed skins that there's also going to be an outside alien conflict, which is going to be the main enemy. So you basically have the humans, the space soldiers, whatever you want to call them, fighting against each other, and then you have the aliens who are then fighting against the humans. Yeah. No, you're totally right with that. No, I agree, because Activision's the publisher. So basically, Activision publishes the game across all platforms. But here's the thing: I don't know how much the money is, and we'll probably never find out. But I can guarantee you that it's such a ridiculous amount of cash that it's like, you know, normal guys like me and you can't even imagine that type of money. But yeah, you're exactly right. It doesn't make sense for $20 million. I mean, that's, you know, they make that in 2 hours selling the game. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So no, you're absolutely right about that. The amount of money, I'm sure, is going to be a huge lump sum. Not to mention with additional royalties going to Activision. But I'm telling you, with all these corporate battles that go on, if you follow any of the news between Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Activision, people leaving the company, people getting fired, people starting their own company over here, you know, they do this kind of stuff all the time. In the corporate world, especially the video game development corporate world, it's a cutthroat battle at all times. It's whoever can make the most money with the least amount of expenditure, that's who wins. And in this case, they decided to buy out the competition, which is going to be crazy. So at this point in time, I would definitely hold off on buying a PlayStation 4, especially if it comes out before the 720. I would wait before both consoles are out so that you can make the proper decision buying it. Because if all this information pans out like I think it is, then anybody that buys a PlayStation 4 will be then selling it for $50 online to buy an Xbox 720 so they can play Call of Duty. So I went through the maps, went through a couple of the character skins here. I did mention a little bit earlier that there are going to be vehicles. Obviously, there's going to be, there's going to be different traveling between the different planets. You've got Mars and you've got Earth, and then actually on the actual planets, there's going to be vehicles that people are going to be using to fight. So really, one of them I've got here is a Predator. It's a personal air transport. Obviously, they stole the name Predator from previous Call of Duties. And what it is a personal transportation device so that you're able to get across the maps. Because apparently, looking at the scale and dimensions of the maps and the scale and the size of the actual skins, it's looking to me that the actual size of the maps are going to be about 10 times the size of what they are now. So what they did to combat the fact that, you know, it's going to be a lot more traveling involved is that everybody is going to be pre-equipped with a Predator personal transporter. And then from the concept art, the concept design that I've been looking at, the actual teleportation gun is going to be a short-range teleporter that has a probably a 5 to 10 second cooldown rate, so that you're able to skip across different parts of the map, but not long range. So for short-range traveling, you're going to use the personal teleportation device. For long-range traveling across the maps, you'll use the Predator personal transportation. Another one of the vehicles that I've absolutely seen all the skins with is a hover tank. And I believe that they're kind of stealing that for Battlefield 2142 because they did have hover tanks in that game as well. You know, we'll see how it pans out, how the gameplay is. If anybody played World at War, you know, some of the maps would have tanks and vehicles and everything. So, you know, they've done it before, just not to a high level of success. But I really think what they're trying to do here is that they've included vehicles into the Call of Duty franchise in order to compete with the Battlefield franchise, because Battlefield is known for being, you know, super realistic military simulation battles, including, you know, you got jets, helicopters, tanks, jeeps, whatever you want to call it. Yes, there will be online, and that's most of this is going to translate to online. What I'm seeing in the script is they want to have a totally seamless single player and a totally seamless multiplayer, so that you're able to jump into a single player game and you're able to transgress into a multiplayer game basically seamlessly. I'm going to go ahead and take a check here at the Twitter noise here, see if anybody has any questions for us here. Looks like we had a couple people here that missed out. Got a couple people here that missed out, and that's all right. We'll catch you next time, guys. But you know, you'll definitely want to do a replay of this, so definitely get back on here. All right. Let me go ahead and send out another tweet here and see what else we have going on here. Let everybody know that we are still going here. I want to make sure that I get everybody in here that needs to ask any questions. Alright, there we go. Okay. Alright, so what else do we have here? Okay, let me go through some of my notes here so I can let you know. Basically, all these notes that I have here are a group of notes that I've kind of consolidated from all the different emails and Skypes and phone calls I've had with this guy, and all the information that he's released me. Normally, I don't fall for any type of scams without doing my due diligence and really figuring out, you know, am I being jerked around, whatever. But basically, everything he sent me, I have total proof of. He's sending me all kinds of pictures and everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting this on a website for the whole world to see. We'll see if that changes anything. But my main mission here is that we absolutely have to stop this game. And it's just, I mean, really, if I wanted to play a space game, I would play some Halo or any of the other numerous games that are futuristic shooters, man. I mean, I was nervous when Battlefield 2 was coming out. You know, when they said that it was going to be, you know, when they said it was going to be in the future, I mean, I was absolutely freaking out because I didn't want any laser beams or any of this other crap that I'm telling you here. It's just totally pissing me off, too. Stagger Step 312. That's honestly going to kill sales on the PS4. If that's true, the Xbox will basically become a monopoly, and none of the other consoles will survive. If this is true, can we do anything to stop it? See, and that's exactly the point. Now, Xbox is obviously owned by Microsoft. Look what Microsoft has done with Windows. The only other competitor to Windows, you've got a couple of small operating systems that aren't going to be able to have any type of competition. And then you've got Macs. And, you know, there's only a certain demographic of people that are actually going to buy Apple products for computers. I mean, I don't have one. I'm a PC guy. I've got, you know, 4 or 5 PCs here or whatever. So they have a total monopoly on it. So it's going to kind of be the same thing. You're going to have Xbox 360 completely taking away the entire CoD crowd from all of the other consoles. Okay, so it's going to crush everybody else. And to be honest with you, you know, the Xbox 360 pretty much dominates everybody else, with the PlayStation coming in a close second. You know, the Wii U sells the most amount of units, but as far as grossing, Microsoft wins with the Xbox 360. So what I'm guessing is going to happen is once they have the monopoly on Call of Duty, I think the PlayStation is going to fold, unless they're able to come up with a competitor to Call of Duty, which it's always possible, because if you know, had a lot of game designers leave Treyarch and Infinity Ward over the last few years. If they banded together, what do you think they could do? They could compete with Call of Duty if they really wanted to, and were able to get enough sponsors to support them. So what I really see is, I see if it does happen and they're not able to compete, Xbox 720 is going to completely dominate every other aspect of the gaming genre except for Nintendo. Nintendo survives the storm every single time. I'm not a Nintendo guy anymore in my old age. I want to play more graphic, more violent games. I want to play more mature titles, things like that. But you're always going to have the Mario crowd. You're always going to have the kids. You're always going to have the parents that buy their kids Nintendos because it's wholesome, it's safe. You know what I mean? Everything else, oh, you can go into party chat on it on the Xbox. So, you know, people don't want their kids watching that. So my first console was a Nintendo. I'm sure you guys' first console is probably a Nintendo too. So as far as stopping this, I mean, I want the whole game to stop. I mean, Call of Duty in space. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it will kill the franchise. And obviously, everybody buys every Call of Duty that comes out. If you talk to your friends, they go, "Oh, I'm not buying the next Call of Duty." And then the midnight release comes out. You go out and buy it. And then 3 weeks later, all of your friends have it, regardless of what they said about the last one. So you know everybody's going to buy it. It's just one of those games that everybody buys every single year. And so what's going to happen is, even if the game sucks, it's still going to dominate the rest of the consoles if they don't have a Call of Duty title. Just because the game flops itself, even though they'll sell millions and millions of copies, it'll be a flop. And people will still buy the Xbox 720 just for the hype of having Call of Duty exclusively on the Xbox 720. So the only thing that I can actually think of that would be a way to stop this is to spread the word, get the community involved, get some of the pro gamers involved, get some of the MLG guys involved, you know, get some of the big YouTube guys involved, White Boy 7th Street, you know, all the guys that are out there that are getting millions of views, they're the ones that need to know. You know, I don't pull much weight. I have a decent following here, and I love everybody that subscribes, everybody that watches our videos. However, the only way I can think of doing it is for everybody to band together and say that they are absolutely going to boycott Xbox 720 and Activision if they decide to go through with this. I don't know how far down the rat hole they are, but I believe that the actual physical aspect of merging between Treyarch and Infinity Ward, I believe that that's pretty much finalized, because from what I'm seeing from the different email threads, it looks like they're already working together coding this game. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Anyways, does anybody else have any questions for me before I move on to the next topic here that I'm going to cover? If you have any other questions, please feel free to go ahead and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and post out to Twitter. Alright, let's get this out to everybody, see if anybody else has any questions here. Alright, looks like we're good to go as far as that goes. Alright, so back to the questions here. So yeah, I think I've answered everybody here, so let's go ahead and move on to the next portion here. We've got a few more minutes left. Oh, here's another interesting thing. One more interesting thing about this is that this actually, there aren't going to be any levels. So normally in a Call of Duty game, you're able to level up. You start out at level 1, go up to level 50, and then you prestige. Well, guess what? This time around, there are not going to be any levels. There will only be unlocks. So apparently there's going to be different versions of weapons, and there's going to be a whole slew of weapons. They say it could be hundreds. And what's going to happen is every time that you would normally level, you gain your experience and you normally would level. What's going to happen at that point is, instead of getting another level or another, you know, another emblem or whatever, you're just going to get a weapon. So you start out, and you're going to start out with probably a pistol or some weak weapon or whatever. And then what's going to happen from there is you'll start adding on to your emblems, to your weapon artillery. Now you're right. The problem is it probably won't be confirmed, and you're right. This information that I'm giving you, everything that I've seen, this is what I've seen with my own 2 eyes. And you know how they do with the Call of Duties is they keep everything top secret until they're close to being done with the game, and they're able to go ahead and film it, put it on TV, and start advertising it. So if you remember, they always have their release during the NBA playoffs, which I'm sure they'll be doing again. You know, they haven't confirmed anything with the 720 yet either. So I'm thinking that there's going to be a massive media campaign advertising the Xbox 720 and Call of Duty Space Warfare Ops, if they call it that. I hope that might have been just a joke that they were talking to each other, because it's just an absolute bogus name, Space Warfare Ops. I mean, really, if you think about that, like, you know, they're already reusing all the same crap every time they come out with a new Call of Duty, but to seriously name it Warfare Ops, I mean, it's just totally ridiculous. I mean, seriously, when I first started talking to this hacker, I didn't believe a single word of what he was saying until he started sending me the media. I mean, I've seen the models, I've seen the maps, I've seen all the concept art, I've seen all this stuff, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, going back to some of the information I've got, I've got 3 different character skins that I've seen. One of them is it's kind of a spacesuit. It looks like it's kind of in between Halo and in between Gears of War, kind of like a roughneck spacesuit fighter looking guy. And then I've seen a couple of the different alien skins of the alien race, which I'll be honest with you, man, these aliens look totally sick. I mean, if you imagine some of the best graphics you've ever seen on Xbox 360, this is 10 times better than anything that I've seen, and it's not even the final cut for what these skins are going to look like. And then there's another one. There's going to be an actual class for stealth. So we're going to have an exoskeleton stealth suit, and it looks pretty cool. It's just that if I didn't know that all this stuff was for Call of Duty, I would be excited about it. But because I know it's going to be the next Call of Duty game, I'm upset about it, if that makes sense. So yeah, so those are the skins that I've seen. Let me go through some more of my notes here. So I kind of gone through what this hacker's been telling me. This hacker, his name is Anon27Zaid, and a lot of different things. Like I said, I've got emails going back and forth between Alex Conserva, he's the lead programmer of Treyarch. I've got emails from Dave Anthony. He's the VP and director of Treyarch. Julian Luo, he's the lead designer of Infinity Ward, and also Keith Bell, he's a designer for Infinity Ward as well. They are all communicating, and from what I can tell by reading all these, and I've read probably 100 different emails in these different strings, and it appears to me that they're absolutely working together, and you kind of have them bickering a little bit about going back and forth about, you know, this isn't right or that's not right. It's almost like they're merging because their company is making them, but it doesn't seem like they're happy about it. So it's not like jolly good happy times over at Treyarch Ward or whatever they're going to call it. It's basically these guys don't seem like they're happy with the entire transition. And then kind of going back to it, a lot of the coding, from what I can tell, and the information I'm getting from Anon27Zaid, is that they are going to be releasing some type of virtual reality goggles. What they were initially saying about the Xbox 720 is they're going to have a full room immersion system that would light up your whole room, bring the game into your living room kind of a thing. However, they're saying that there's code in here for VR goggles, so I think that the illuminating the entire room thing might not have worked. And I think what might have happened was they went ahead and decided just to release it with VR goggles, which we've been talking about virtual reality for a long, long time now, and it's never quite worked. I personally think that if they did that, that might be a good idea, because virtual reality could possibly work at this stage of time for the information that we have in technology. So we've got a few more minutes here. Any last questions that any of you have? I want to go ahead and answer a couple more questions that you guys might have. Let me know what you guys think. Any other questions I can answer you about the information I have? Like I said, I've got pages and pages and pages of info here that I can go through. I just wanted to make sure that I was getting this information out to the community, and that we were, getting this out there so that hopefully the community can get involved so that we can stop this Call of Duty. It's got to be stopped. It's terrible. I don't want Call of Duty in space. I want to shoot an M4. That's what I want to do. I don't want to play these games. So if you have any other questions, please type them in. Let me know right here what you've got, and we'll go ahead and get your questions answered, and we'll take it from there. One last thing is I actually have a quote. I have a quote that has been being passed around in some of these email threads. A couple of these guys are actually using this in their signature line of their emails. And here's the quote. It says, "We have to change the face of games. gaming has to go to space. Facepalm. It sounds so ridiculous, but I really think that some of the higher ups over there at the Treyarch Activision, Infinity Ward, whatever they're going to be called at this point, I believe that they are actually thinking that they're doing some amazing thing. You know, I don't think you want to keep copying the same thing over and over again, but I also don't think that you want to try to completely reinvent the wheel of one of the biggest selling games of all time. That's just what I think. So, anyways, I don't see any more questions coming through. I appreciate everybody watching here. Appreciate everybody stopping by. What I'm going to do is keep an eye out for the website. Keep an eye out for what I've got going on here, because I will be releasing more info. Tomorrow, I will be posting a new video based on the same exact topic that we're talking about tonight. I will release a little bit more proof. I'll release some of the screenshots just so you can get a taste of it. I appreciate everybody here watching. Thanks for stopping by. If you subscribe, thank you. If you don't subscribe, please do. Until next time, the Masked Gamer is out.